Uh, Hello. So, okay, before starting anything, I just wanted to know how many of you are preparing for CMI especially. Okay, okay, got it. Many of you, quite a few. Okay. And are you all comfortable with English and Hindi both, or is there any some preference or priority? Cool. Okay. Just one more thing. So, have you read Python before this series, or like anywhere yourself, or in college or somewhere, or is this your first time? Okay, many of you have already read, and some of you are like beginners. Cool. So, before starting, I just wanted to know if all of you have gone through CMI entrance syllabus, especially Python. Speaking about Python, especially here. If anyone wants to add something, he or she may open respective mics and can say anyone. So it is not a restricted call that you have to raise a hand first and then speak. It is basically an interaction only for today.
मैम मैंने इस साल सीएमआई के एग्जाम पे मतलब मैं दिया था सीएमआई का एग्जाम पर मुझे नहीं है।
Okay. Cool. सो इन सिलेबस कुछ ऐसे मेंशन नहीं है कि पाइथन है या सी है, क्या है स्पेशली क्या आएगा, बिकॉज फॉर्मेट क्या होता है ना सीएमआई एग्जाम का, स्पेशली फॉर कोडिंग, वो सूडो कोड्स देते हैं, उसमें कोई सिंटेक्स रूल नहीं होता है, कोई इंडेंटेशन का कोई लाइक restriction नहीं होता है. So you have to basically go through the code, get the logic, and ask them what they are asking for, like tell them what they are asking for. So because it is a pseudocode, so you don't need to worry much about the syntax and all. You have to basically get through the logic of the code. So, starting with that, I'll first discuss a little bit about the syllabus. स्पेशली कुछ मेंशन नहीं है सिलेबस में कि क्या क्या करना है, बट बहुत बेसिक चीजें होती हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, तुम लोगों को ये पता होना चाहिए वेरिएबल्स क्या होते हैं, असाइनमेंट कैसे करते हैं, ऑपरेटर्स क्या होते हैं, कमेंट्स क्या होते हैं, एक्सप्रेशन क्या होती है, फंक्शन कैसे बनाते हैं, उसको कॉल कैसे करते हैं, लूप्स कौन कौन से होते हैं, कंडीशनल्स में इफ एल्स एलिफ ये सब क्या होते हैं. इतना ही बेसिक इनफ होता है. और कभी भी सीएमआई एंट्रेंस में तुमसे ये नहीं बोलेगा कि दिस इज द क्वेश्चन एंड यू हैव टू बेसिकली गिव द स्क्रिप्ट और द कोड फॉर दैट. You will be asked either the correction, like there is some correction or error in this code, what is it rectified, or they may ask that what is this code written for, like what is the logic behind this code. Okay, got it? Are you with me?
यस मैम।
Yeah, cool. सो ये जो अभी सीरीज है, जितना भी लेक्चर्स का सीरीज होगा, हम इसको बहुत ही लाइट रखेंगे. बहुत धीरे धीरे हम इससे नेविगेट करेंगे, बहुत बेसिक से. सो अगर आपको कुछ बीच में ऐड करना है कि बहुत फास्ट जा रहा है, बहुत स्लो जा रहा है, या फिर कुछ स्पेशली आप कवर कराना चाहते हैं, या किसी टॉपिक को आप डिस्कस कराना चाहते हैं, तो प्लीज फील फ्री टू अपडेट मी. ओके. So I think we should start with the class. Okay. So let's start. Just a minute. So first of all, talking about the syllabus, we'll go very easy. First, we'll start with variables, data types, operators, assignment, expressions, then maybe conditionals, loops, elaborated sequence types and all. And then maybe we'll move to functions. So yeah. So first of all, what do you think of pseudocodes? And before that, what do you think of programming? So, just like in day-to-day life, we have to talk a lot. We have to convey our feelings, our emotions, or whatever we feel like to other person. So how do we do it? We basically express it through some language, be it Hindi, English, or some other native language. But the problem is, if we want to ask something to the computer, to the machine cannot get it in our Hindi, English, or some native language. So basically, we have to have some language or some syntax or some way of telling it what we wanted. So programming is just that only. Like uh, yeah, it is basically writing instructions to the computer in a language it understands. So this is programming basically. Next, you may have also heard a lot about a word called algorithm. So what is algorithm? What do you think? So as I mentioned that we have to basically provide some instructions to the computer, and for that instructions we have to provide some steps basically. Like for example, if you want to prepare a tea in our day-to-day life, we have to do some go through some steps. For example, we'll need some utensils, maybe milk, then boil the milk, water, whatever. So in programming or coding, we have to provide some instructions to the computer in steps, and algorithm is basically the logic behind those steps. Like what do you exactly want from computer? For example, if you want to add two numbers, two digits, so basically the algorithm behind it is adding. Got it? So moving on to our next topic, that is pseudocodes. Basically, pseudocodes nothing but like very friendly language, friendly instructions maybe of writing a code. And in pseudocode, there are no rules or syntax. But in programming, you have to be strict, or you have to go through some codes and syntax. Cool. Okay. So from here, now I'll basically move to our topic called variables. What is variable? Variable is basically a box. You can think it of a box that holds something. You store something. Okay, got it? Or maybe more rigidly, we can say a name that stores a value. So in Python, basically, when you want to perform something, some operation, some calculation, so what do you need to do is you have to provide some numbers, some values to do some calculations. So how do you provide them? You have to basically store them in a variable name, in a thing in a box, in a placeholder, and that is known as variable. For example, if we want to basically if we want to add two numbers, so before adding them we need to give those two numbers. And how do we give that? For example, a is equals to 2, b equals to 3. So here a and this b are variable names. And this equals is the assignment. So what this expression do, basically a is equals to something. So basically it assigns this something to variable a. So like in future, if you want to access this something, you will basically give the name a and the computer or the code will directly access it. Okay. So basically a is used to store that something. Cool. Now, while giving a name to variable, there are some specific rules. So number one is you can never start the name of the variable with a number or a digit. For example, if you want to give a number, so you cannot write one number equals to 2. This is a wrong syntax. You can either write num1 equals to 2. This is a correct syntax, or you can write num equals to 2. Second rule is no spaces. No spaces allowed. Example, if you want to write num1, you cannot just write num, then some space, then 1. This is a wrong syntax. You have to write num underscore 1 or num just 1 attached to it. And the third one is basically just a minute. Yeah, moving on. So the third one is basically it is case sensitive. What does it mean? Like if you are writing number 1 equals to 2 and num 1 equals to 2, these are two different variables. Python will consider them as two different variables. No matter you are given two in both of the values, it will store two at two different locations with two different names, one with small n and one with capital N. So basically, the variable name is case sensitive. Okay. Now, we'll discuss data types. So in Python, there are many data types. Like in maths, we have numbers, real numbers, imaginary numbers, complex numbers, or variables, or constants. Similarly, Python also has some data types. So we'll start with the first. That one is very simple, which is known as int. It is basically an integer. An integer is what? Like in maths, we use -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and so on, like these only. Second one is floats. So what are floats? Floats are basically decimals, or you can say fractions. For example, if you want to write minus 2.16, there is some value after the point, or 2.00. This is a float. It will not be considered as an int. And remember, in Python, the division operation, we'll talk about it later. The division operation always yields output as a float. Now moving on to our next type, that is a string. What is a string? A string is basically a sequence of characters. For example, if you want to write down a name of someone, or any variable which is basically in the form of characters, name, subject, maybe. Etc. And in Python, strings are always written in these double commas, inverted commas. Like if I want to give a name, I have to write name equals CMI, or subject equals Python. So these are basically integers. These are just sequence of characters. Moving on to the next type, that is bool, or we can say booleans. So these are nothing but basically true and false. True and false are not considered as a string or something in Python. These are special values, true or false, which holds a significant meaning. Basically, true in Python is considered as 1 and false in Python is considered as 0. We'll come back to it later, but I will just demonstrate an example so that it will be more clear to you. For example, if you want to check if I have a sign x equals to 5, and I want to check if x is greater than if x is greater than equals to 4. So is this statement true according to you? Yes, it is true. So basically what will be the output? It will be 2. And if you want to check the type of this output, it will not be a string, it will be basically a bool value. And there is this very special type, that is fifth, which is none type. If you want to create a placeholder sometimes, that is just a variable name and it does not store any particular variable, then you just type a equals to none or b equals to none. Or if you have already created a variable and if you delete it later and then you want to access it, then it will be stored in a null type. It is a very special type. It will be used many times in like in crucial codes, in loops, or in conditionals. Got it? There are also many types, but we'll discuss them later. For example, if we talk about sequence, sequence types होता है इसमें. These are also data types only, but there are some further bifurcations. In sequence, there are lists, tuples, these range, and this we have just discussed the string, and set type. There is this set which stores only unique values, no repetition allowed, no duplicates allowed, and There are some hash types. These are some more complicated structures. We'll discuss them one by one in further classes. In hash structures, it is dictionary, which basically stores some key value pairs. So dictionary is nothing but just a mapping. Like in maths, we have functions, maps, some variables in domain, which similarly dictionary maps keys to the, and these keys are unique. As in maths, if you have two sets A or B, and there are some values 1, 2, 3, and there are some values 4, 5, 6 maybe, and you can just map one observation to one value. This is not allowed. Similarly, two keys cannot refer to a same value in Python. So, sorry, like same key cannot refer to different values. So one to many mapping is not allowed. If there is 1, 2, 3. So 1 referring to 4 and 1 referring to 6 is not allowed. So are you clear with the data types? If you have any doubt, you can just open your mic and ask the doubt, because I will not be able to see the chat box or messages.
आपने जो नन वाला जो डेटा टाइप बोला वो तो ऐसा यूज नहीं होता है ना, क्योंकि मतलब एक वेरिएबल को डिक्लेयर करके वो प्लेस होल्डर करे।
नहीं, लाइक वो आगे यूज होगा, अभी मैं उसको नहीं डिमोन्स्ट्रेट कर सकती, बिकॉज उसके लिए कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा कंसेप्ट की जरूरत पड़ेगी. फॉर एग्जांपल, if we are traversing through a list and we want to store some value in different list, so we can just make a null list, and then we can replace the null values with the outputs. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So yeah, moving ahead. There is a concept called typecasting in Python, which basically means changing the data type. For example, in Python, there is a function called input, which basically takes the input of the user. If you want to run a code and you want to perform an operation on your given values, for example, if you want to perform a sum, then you will be giving some input values to Python, and the interpreter or compiler will be adding those values and returning to you the output after calling a particular function called sum. So for this input, it is basically like this. Num1 equals to input. Maybe I enter the number. So it will, when you run this code in console, it will appear like enter your number, enter the number, like this. And then you will ask to enter the number through your keyboard, and maybe like you type 2 and press enter. So the problem with this is, if you will take another number like this too, same procedure, and if you want to return a sum with num1 plus num2, it will basically throw you an error. But the problem is why? Because we are just adding two numbers and it should return an output. But the thing here is the input function always takes values as strings. So basically what happens here is num1, which is basically 2, is considered as 2, and this is a string. So basically in the string, if 2 is mentioned, so it doesn't hold the value 2 as it holds in maths. It is basically a character. It does not have significance. So जो भी आप string के अंदर लिखते हो उसका मतलब कुछ नहीं होता है, सिर्फ वही वो आउटपुट में दे देता है as it is. No changes, no significance, no meaning. So to rectify it, basically you need to typecast the string into an integer to perform any operation further. So what you do is, just a minute. So what you do is to take an input, you will write num1 equals to, if you want to convert it in integer input, enter the number, then number 2 equals to enter the second number maybe, and then you can sum equals num1 plus num2, and then you can just print out the sum. It will basically give you an output of num1 plus num2. For example, if you taken it as 2 and taken it as 3, then it will basically gives you 5. Or you can simply take the outputs without writing those ints, and then for in next step you can write sum of integer of num1 plus integer of num2. So basically this part is giving you a string, and then this is converting this string to the integer. This is known as typecasting. It will be used many times in the codes, and you will easily get through it when we'll demonstrate the code further. Okay. So as we have discussed about the variables, types, data types, and typecasting, I'll also discuss how to get a data type of a particular value. For example, if you have given a equals to 2, you have given b equals to 3.006 something, and a variable something, and you want to fetch the data types. So how do you do it? There is a command which is known as type. So you'll basically print type of A, comma, type of B, comma, type of name, type of is student. And what will be the output in this case? It will be, so A is your int, it will return int. Then B is your float, so it will return float. Name is a string, and further is a student is a bool value. So this is basically, if you want to check which data type a variable holds, you can just use this function type and get its value. So moving further, you have taken an input, you have stored it in a variable. Now, obviously you want to perform some operations with it. So now we are going to discuss the operators in Python. There are many types of operators in Python. We'll go through them one by one. So first one is arithmetic operators. As the name suggests, we have already done them in maths actually. So in maths, there are some operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, percentage, and all. So these are basically arithmetic operators. In Python, there are some specific symbols which signifies the operation. So we'll start with like this. So what is it? This is basically a power function. For example, if you want to write 2 to the power 3, so you would write 2 asterisk 3. Second one is, this is, I'll keep it simple. Just a single asterisk. This is multiplication. So it will basically, it in 2 to the power 3 is 8. And if you write 2 asterisk 3, this will give you 2 multiply 3, which is 6. So next one is, this is normal division. And this is, let me take a different example. So yeah, if you write 10 divided by 3, it will return you 3.33. And this is the division I was talking about earlier. Like I was saying, the division always returns you a float value. So if you divide a number with another number, and even if it can yields you a integer, but it will always yields you a float value. This is 3.000, and this is a float value. It will not return you 3, which is a int. This will, okay. So next one is, this is known as float division. What it does basically is, it will yields you the floor function of this simple division. Like if you divide 10 by 3, you get 3.33, and if you get its greatest integer function, it will give you 3. So this is the output for 10 floor 3. Next one is this. This is known as modulo. And what it does is basically, it yields you the reminder. Reminder like 10 divided modulo 3. It will yields you so it will yields you 1. Got it? So these are basically your arithmetic operators. And 2 more are here. So those are plus minus. Let's clear with their name what they does. So like we have a BODMAS rule in maths which decides the precedence of the operators, which operator will be calculated first, like the order of the calculation. If you have written an expression and it holds parentheses of plus, minus, multiply, divide something, so firstly it will calculate the thing between the brackets, then it will move to off, then division, then multiplication, addition, and subtraction. The same way, Python also have the precedence, like the orders of calculation. So in Python, this holds This is at number first. These all holds second precedence. So they are at same level. And the last, these plus minus will be calculated at last. So this is the precedence table. So, for example, if we want to print A plus B, and before this, A is equals to 3 maybe, B equals to 2 maybe. So in this, as this power holds the highest precedence, it will be calculated very first. So yeah, B power 2 will gives us 2 raised to the power 2, which is 4, and then A plus 4 will be 3 plus 4, which is 7. So output will be 7. Similarly, you can try yourself different operators and just cross-verify what it's returning, like A plus B. I'll come to the practical part later. So if you want to perform A plus B multiplied by 3 raised to the power 2 maybe. So it will be calculated first, which will yield to 9. Then B is 2, and 2 raised to 2 multiplied by 9 is 18. And then A will be added to it, which is 3, and 18 plus 3 is 21. So this will be your result. Okay. So now talking to the about the next one, which is comparison operators. These are also sometimes known as relational operators. When we just want to compare between the two values. So there are many operators. For example, there is this, which checks if a value is equal to some other value. So suppose if you want to check if A equals B here, in this is A and this is B. So these operators will always result in bool values, Boolean types, either true or false. So is 3 equals to 2? Obviously no. So it will yield false. Similarly, the second one is greater than equals to, less than equals to. This is not equals to. So if you want to print here, print A is not equals to B, it will obviously yields you the value true. So these are some of, you can use any operator like this multiply equals to. No, you can't do this. You can simply use greater than or less than. These are strictly. So these are your comparison or relational operators. This will always use you true or false. Okay. Maybe next. Yeah. So moving ahead to the next type of operators, which are basically logical operators. So these are basically used to build logic or operate on booleans. So like and or not, These are your logical operators. So if you want to print true and false, it will always give you false. So what does n do? It will yield you true only if both values are true. Otherwise, false. Or will yield you true if any one, yeah, either of the values is true. Otherwise, false. When it will be false or false. And not is basically complementary. So not of true is false, or not of false is basically true. So these are your logical operators. So you can print any of them if you want to print true or false. So as one of the values is true, it will always use you true. These are known as your logical operators. You've got it? And you can also perform them on values. For example, if x is equals to 5. So if you want to print x is greater than 5 or x is less than 10. So what are these? These are relational operators. This and this. They will yield you into true or false. For example, x is greater than 5. Is x greater than 5 here equals? No, false. And what is x less than 10? It's true. So basically it's true or false. And as one of the values true, it will finally result into true. Similarly, you can check print of not x greater than 3. So is x greater than 3? That's true. And not of true is false. So this is how the logical operator works. Next one is our assignment operators. So basically these are used to assign some values. For example, equals. I have discussed this later also. Assignment. Plus equals, minus equals, multiply equals, or divide equals, or yeah, power equals, any of that. So what if I write x plus equals 2, what it basically means is x equals x plus 2. If x has a value 5 over here, so it will return 5 plus 2 equals 7. So if you print x here, it will yield you 7. Similarly, x minus equals to 2 will yield you 5 minus 2, which is 3. So these are basically these are used in loops when you want to traverse through the indices of lists or many tuples. I'll discuss it later. So, fifth one is identity operators. And what are identity operators? Is or is not. So, here I can give an example. For example, A is a list of values 1, 2, 3. And B is a list of values 1, 2, 3 again. And we write A. For example, if we want to create a new list, which is C equals A. Now, if I check print A is equals to B, and print AC. So the catch here is this will always return you false, and this value will return you true. Why? This is a very interesting concept, and I'll discuss it sometime later when I'm going to discuss the list. This concept is mutability. So what happens here is lists are basically mutable objects. So there is a list 1 to 3 which is A. There is again a list 1 to 3 which is a B. They hold the same list, but as there are two variables A and B. So what happens here is these will be stored at two different locations. So this will basically return you false because the location is not same here. So it is basically this is basically used to differentiate between two values which are same but maybe stored at some different memory locations. And here, as C is equals to A, so what happens is here A stores some value C, and what we does is we assign the C to the same value. So basically, this C will always refer to this value. So both A and C are equal, and this will return in true. This is a little bit tricky. So if you don't get it, we'll discuss it later also. Don't worry about it. Just let it be. I picked the example of list to make it clear to you the significance of this identity operator. So moving on is next is our membership operators. These are very simple operators in odd model. So for example, you have a list which is a 4, 5, 9, 10, 11. And if you want to check if a particular value is included in that list, for example, if you want to check is 4, 5 in A. So yeah, 5 is there in this A. It will yield you true. And if you want to check 6 in A, this will yield you false. Or maybe 6 not in A, which is a true statement. So these are known as your membership operators. There are also one more types of operators which are known as bitwise operators. So before going to this, we need to understand binary conversion of a digit. Of a number, sorry. So what happens is basically in computer, everything is stored in zeros and ones. So if you are passing a number 5 to the computer, it will not be stored as 5. It will be stored in something like 0, 1, 0, 1. Or if it is of 8 bits, it will be stored like this 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. So what it means basically is, for example, this is 5. 5, you will basically divide it by 2. So if you divide 5 by 2, what will you get? It is basically 2. And what is the remainder? 1. Then what will you do is divide this 2 with 2 again. So this will be 1, remainder is 0. So this is basically you traverse through the list. For example, if you want to write 13 as in bits, so you will divide 30. It will be 6. And remainder is, it will divide it will be 1. What you do again is 6 divided by 2. So what will be? Remainder will be 0. Then You pick this number and again divide it by 2. Then you will pick this number again, divide it by 2. This will be 1. Then you pick this number and again divide it by 2. This will nothing but 0 and 1 number. So this will make a chain. 6, then 6 divided by 2 will be 3, remainder 0. Then this 3 divided by 2 will simply be 1, remainder 1. And this 1 divided 2 will be 0, remainder 1. So what you do is pick these numbers but from below, like 1, 1, 0, 1. This is your binary depiction of 30.